Try to keep time today. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about good drivers. Yeah, I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and I hope you had a good night. Good drivers, how do you know a good driver? How do you know a bad driver? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And probably then, even those people that don't know what type of driver they are, they can probably improve with the things that we're going to talk about today. Yeah, because sometimes people just don't do what they ought to do because they don't know that they ought to be doing it. Yeah. So it happens that someone doesn't know what they have to be doing, and they ignorantly do the wrong things, and that's a very common thing though. It's, sometimes we can't blame people that are ignorant for doing. Yeah, a follower of mine called me and good morning, Martha, how are you? Yeah, I'm also good. Good morning, Seth. Good, Martha. Good. Good. So, I want us to have this discussion again. It's supposed to be a discussion for us to share. You all know what a good driver is supposed to be doing. Sometimes, to Zimbia midway, you know what you ought to be doing, but you won't do it because even when you do the wrong thing, or itawo, so many other drivers are doing the wrong thing, so you decide to do. Like you see what I'm doing right now. Let me show you. See what I'm doing right now. I'm going left, and I am in the middle lane. The middle lane is supposed to be going straight. This is a very wrong thing. But well, if I don't do it, someone else will do it. It doesn't make it right. I did it to show you because normally I'm in the left, I'm in the right lane when I'm going right. Sorry, I'm going right, not left. So if you are at the traffic lights and you're going right, and you are at a 3-lane road, yeah, of course this is giving me a head start. I go ahead of everyone else. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the things that make you a good driver. And I'm thinking the people that are in Europe, the people that are in the UAE, you know that these are the things that make living in those places wonderful. Because those guys do the things that we're going to be talking about. Actually, I actually think so many Ugandans don't know. Very few go to driving schools. Yeah, I personally didn't go to a driving school, but I think some of these things should be like straightforward. Because you see, like the lane thing, when you come to like the traffic lights, if it's a 3-lane road, they will show you the middle lane. They will put a straight arrow. On the right lane, they will put an arrow that corners right, and in the left lane, they will of course put an arrow that goes left. Some of these things I think should be automatic. Never to again, I'm driving school. But I'm guessing, on top of not going to driving school, some Ugandans don't know how to read, don't like to read, they don't like to follow instructions. Bagara migo all the time. Yeah, a friend of mine said, muntu ne bamujja mu mmoloka ne bamukuba emiggo ne bamugamba tokiddangamu ekyo, then awo abantu bajja kutereera. Because you find even guys that are driving government vehicles doing some of the idiotic things. Like from primary school, we have been educated that zebra crossings are for pedestrians to cross. We were even told that when you're, for example, in primary school, we're told that if you're going to cross the road, it's very safe for you to cross at zebra crossings, because all cars, all motorcycles, and basically all vehicles will stop for you to cross. And that's what we were being told in school. However, it's completely the opposite. we actually have to stop for cars to cross the zebra crossings, and it's very idiotic. You find even government vehicles crossing the zebra crossings when they're pedestrians that ought to be crossing at that moment. You get it? You even find driving school cars with the instructor driving, going through a zebra crossing when there are pedestrians that ought to be crossing at that time. We're Gamba. I think Ugandans, majority of us are idiots. Yeah, and Stuart told me I should not be calling people idiots. This is a zebra crossing, and you see what the border guys are doing. Very idiotic. Very idiotic. You stop and someone shows that, well, you're the idiot for stopping. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the things that make you a good driver wherever you are, not just in Uganda. But I think we need this in Uganda more, especially for you guys that are coming back from abroad, come back to Uganda. Sometimes when you're coming from abroad and you come to this country, you feel, and it's an automatic thing. I've been to Europe and I came back, and sometimes you feel you have wings. You get it happens. I know you all feel it when you come back, and normally when you feel like that, so what makes you a good driver? For starters, you need to know what things on the road, what every sign on the road means. I'm hoping that if you didn't go to driving school, at least you've been reading about these things. You see that broken line on the right, Unga Land Cruiser where you said that broken line, it means you can cross to either sides of the road. For starters, it's a two-lane road, so I can cross and go to the lane on the right. I can cross and stay on the lane on the left. That's what it means. However, if you find that line solid, it means you should not be crossing anyway. But sometimes you even find, why am I making reference to government vehicles? Because I believe by the time you get a government job, you should be able to drive properly. You should know all the things that other people don't know. So that broken line, that broken line means that you can cross, go to the other side of the lane or come back. But if it's solid, you should avoid crossing. It means it's not safe. You see that sign 70, it means the speed limit here is 70 kilometers per hour. And then there is that. That one is a guidance signpost that tells you where you're going and how many kilometers you have to drive until you get to your destination. I think that is very helpful. Still, you see the speed limit thing, it's back. It's hard for me to zoom when I'm driving as well. Yeah, but Mokaraba, the speed limit signs, you need to know what those signs mean so that you don't drive beyond the speed limit. Sometimes that speed limit is for your safety. For example, if you go, I'm going at 60 kilometers per hour right now. I'm imagining the RAV4 is going at 70 kilometers per hour because that's our speed limit. And then there is that signpost. I'll cross left. There is this signpost. So Karaba is telling you that if you're going to Chebando, you cross left. Now this is the right time for you to signal or indicate that you're going left if you're going to go left. Watch the gate. Yeah. And then, of course, on Omwana, I started the Wacham. I don't know why. Then I the direction. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the things that make you a good driver. Probably this is how you know that you're a good driver or that you are a bad driver. But we're going to base on a good driver. Being positive is good all the time. Yeah. So I'm going to try to be positive in this broadcast. The first thing that I realized that most people that drive in Uganda, I'm not going to say people in Uganda, I'm going to say the people that drive in Uganda, because even when you find someone that has just come from a country that you assume they knew what to do, because most of them have not been driving either way, because the times I've been to Europe, I've not driven. think there is one time that I went to Canada and drove, but we were in the outskirts, you're going to be a watery camera, and the lady let me drive. Yeah, I think in the period of like 15 years that I've been traveling, that's the only time I drove. So most people, when they travel, they don't actually drive. So for you to know that you're a good driver, the first thing you're going to know how to do and how soon to do it is to signal that you're turning, or to indicate that you're turning. Kakati, these indicators, left or right, normally I recommend that you do it at least 10 feet away from the place, from your turning point. Ngatonaba kuchama, indicate at least 10 feet. Now 10 feet for the guys that have ever rented a single room, 10 feet is the size of a single room normally. Most single rooms that we rent in Uganda are 10 feet. So indicate at least 10 feet. You see now I'm about to turn off. But because we have border guys that rarely ever pay attention to anything, I already indicated. I indicated at around 30 feet. Okay? So that if anyone is speeding behind me, they know that this guy is turning. And also because the place where I'm turning from is not a typical turning place, so most people don't know there is a turning point there. So you can indicate and they think that you're going to turn off at the roundabout. You get? So you indicate and slow down and then start turning slowly. Get? And that's what I did. Yeah. So everyone, if in case someone is speeding behind me, they will know that, okay, this car is actually going off the road because I've indicated and also slowed down. That's the one thing that you need to know as a driver in Uganda. Indicators are very, very important. There are so many accidents that have happened because of indicators. The first culprit, of course, borders. You can imagine a bulb for indicators is 2,000 shillings and it can work for more than 2 years. But border guys never replace their indicators when they blow. And I've found also motorists that drive cars that don't replace their indicator bulbs. And it's a very bad thing. Now, I've already indicated when you're entering a road and you're coming from a smaller road like me, you actually have to be much more careful because every accident that happens is your fault. Because you're coming from a small road, sometimes it's not recognizable. So you have to be very, very patient. Okay, toleta chifuba. Yeah, so indicators are very important. Especially if you're turning off to a road that is not conventional, which take Uganda to those small roads. Indicators are very important for you to know when to use an indicator. For example, there is what we call hazard lights, the double indicators. Now normally the hazard lights are supposed to warn people totally come slow or even stop. Normally when we see hazard lights, we act at braking, we get ready to stop. Yeah, that's what hazard lights do. The double indicators, we call them double indicators, but I think Americans call them hazard lights, hazardous. I don't know, hazard lights. It means that there is something in front of the driver that is behind you and they should stop. Now it's very common. Uganda has a lot of dangerous drivers, to the extent that on the roads, even at zebra crossings, schools and local councils have hired people to have red flags to stop cars, to stop oncoming traffic when kids are going to cross or when people are going to stop. And I believe that's a sign that people have lost faith in the drivers in Uganda. You get? And that's a very bad thing. You get? So you have to be one of the drivers that is going to restore the faith that people had in drivers. The fact that these guys are actually putting red flags for us, wake him up nicely like a brother should wake up a brother. Nicely, wake him up nicely. Yeah, so indicators are very important when you're going to be driving. Okay, we have of course already talked about lanes, but the other thing you need to know, as a good driver in Uganda, we drive on the left. That's why our steering wheel is on the right. We drive on the what? On the left. So keep left unless when overtaking. Even you find someone in a 2-lane road and they're on the right lane, but they are going too slow. You're going 40 kilometers per hour on a road that says the speed limit is 70 kilometers per hour. You get it's a very bad thing. If you're going very slow, you should keep left, because people overtake from the right. Let the people that are going fast, let the people that have stuff to do fast, let the people that are late overtake you. Keep left unless when overtaking. I think we've seen that. I think on the Entebbe Express Highway, there is that signal. Even on the bypass, keep left, keep left, keep left, keep left. They're just trying to remind you that there are people that are going to actually go faster than you. So give them way to let me just look for my power bank to get more light in here. So you keep left to give way to the guys that actually want to overtake you again. Also, not just on the 2-lane roads, even on the 1-lane roads, if you're going to be going slow, you should pull a little to the left. Pull a little to the left. Pull a little to the left, so that the guys that actually want to cross you, because you find someone going very slow. I got into some small conflict with a guy that lives in the estate. He's a very slow driver. He's a very slow driver. But he drives, you know those Maram roads, they are kind of small. But he's a very slow driver, but he drives in the middle of the road. You can hoot for him, Gatayagara Muisa. So sometimes you are forced to actually forcefully overtake him. You find such idiotic drivers. Because when it's a Maram road. Okay? Why? Because you want people to be behind you. If you don't want, and I know most times people do this because they bagara bakuba mfufu. Boba toyagala kukuba mfufu. Vuga mangu baleme kuyingiramu. Naye ate toyagala kukuba mfufu. Naye ate olemedde maaso g'abantu ate ogenda mpola. Kati ate tekiri kintu kirumanga muntu kukuba mfufu ng'avuga mpola. You get it? So if you're going very slow, it doesn't matter what road you're using. If it's a very small road, pull to the left. The people that actually want to go right. You don't know why someone is rushing. Someone is going to lose their job because you're stupidly driving slow and refusing them to overtake you. You get it? And you know, I'm one of those people that used to say, warikede. Sometimes it's beyond your control. Ngatosoboda kukeira. Sometimes you wake up very early, you have kids, and the kid gets sick. So you have to rush the kid to the hospital first. Then you start your journey to work. You get it? But then you take the kid to the hospital, you come, you want to actually rush a little, and then you find someone actually driving very slow in the middle of the road. No mukubire ngombe, no mu amatala, no more indicator, and they refuse. That's a very idiotic thing. So I'm thinking that, of course, the guys that are watching this video will change, okay, and become better drivers if they are not already better drivers. Normally, when I'm going very slow, I actually move aside. That's why it's very important when you're buying a car, buy a car that is in good condition. Because most people that refuse to be overtaken on Maram roads don't have AC and they are scared of the dust. So you're going slow, but you're scared of the dust. You have a car that has no AC. I don't have it. You guys took it. Yeah. So you need to make sure that if you're going slow, you are on the left side of the road so that people can overtake you. Sometimes someone has an emergency. You get it? And they really have to go fast. But there is this fool in front of him going very slow. You will forgive me, I'm saying this, because if I'm doing it, I have to feel like I'm a fool, because it's idiotic, it's foolish to be in the middle of the road, go very slow, and refuse people to overtake you when you're actually, because you can't be driving at 20 kilometers per hour and expect someone to be behind you all the way. Like me, I drive 7 kilometers of Maram to get to the tarmac road. So you can't expect me to drive 9 kilometers at 20 kilometers per hour. And some people actually expect you to do that. You get it? So I actually think so many Ugandans don't know. Very few go to driving school. Seth says if there is no price to pay for the violations, people won't care. Actually, Seth, there is a price, but there is an even smaller price, which is normally Nguzi. So as long as we still have corruption in this country, things are not going to get better any day. You get, because if the fine is 100K and someone can actually get away with it, by paying 20K, you get, they'll keep violating. And as long as we still have Gamba Nogu, someone gets arrested in a traffic offense, and they can call someone to help them get off that, then still things will not get better. And that happens every day. You get, so yes, we have a price to pay, but I think the first thing the government has to do is to actually probably pay traffic officers better. No. Sit properly. So as long as the traffic officers still get bad pay, Miaja pays, we're going to still see corruption. And as long as we still have corruption, the price to pay doesn't really make sense. You get, of course, the government will have to improve the, of course, someone came to my WhatsApp, I think 2 weeks ago, and they told me, stop talking about the government, stop talking about the government, stop talking about the government. But I think this is something we're talking about. This is not me criticizing any government official. I'm just saying that as long as police officers still sleep very poorly, as long as they get poor pay, they're still going to be corrupt. And of course, as long as corruption up the chain in the big offices still happens, the small police officers will actually also be corrupt. A friend of mine, he actually died in 2016, joined the police for some time. And when he joined the police, he told me, for you to be posted on the road as a traffic officer, you actually have to pay. You pay someone to post you to the road. And to give you a motorcycle for the traffic motorcycle, you actually have to pay. To put you in a, what do they call that? To put you in a patrol, police patrol, the traffic police patrol, you actually have to pay. So it means everything in Uganda, people actually have to pay to go there. And then he told me that traffic police officers that are on the road have targets. Until you will actually have to pay your supervisor. For example, I think that's over OC or something. And then the OC has to pay someone above him. And then the payments go and go and go and go. So until that stops, corruption will not stop. And for this to stop, it means people have to get probably bigger pay. They see MPs getting 30 million, and the MPs don't actually do that much hard work. They see ministers getting a lot of pay, and apparently the ministers don't do too much. And then for them that be in the sun all day, get very little, you get. So corruption will actually not stop. So the price to pay is there safe, but in a way it's useless because of the conditions that prevail. Now, I'm saying this, guys, I know that the drone guys actually watch these broadcasts, you get, but I'm not here, I'm not against the government at all. I'm saying this in the most humble way. I'm not against the government in any way. I'm just saying things the way they should be. Okay, so probably if someone is watching and they can fix the situation, probably they should fix it. You get, I'm not against government in any way. That criticism was in a way to answer to Seth's comment that as long as there is a price to pay, the price to pay is there, Seth, but it doesn't make sense because the system is almost fried, it's dead. So the system has to be fixed first for the price to pay to make sense. So what we need to do as civilians is to educate each other through channels like this one, and to tell each other that, okay, if you go through a zebra crossing, just imagine if your little brother was actually crossing a zebra crossing and a motorist act as idiotic as you did, they just drove through a zebra crossing. You get, how would you feel? You get, so until an accident happens to one of ours, because there is a stupid fool that actually knocked them down when they should have stopped. You get, morning Arthur, I'm live from Chegegwa. Yes, Vincent, thank you very much. Yeah, Henry Chisule, good morning. Arthur, hi. Good morning, Emma. Good morning, Isaac. Isaac is saying, by the way, Arthur, people don't know how to use car lights, especially at night, or light signals. Yes, actually, one of my followers that we just bought a car, I think, and he asked me, and I had to show him. And of course, there is one person that actually told me that tamanyi kusetting our mafuta mileage and all that. So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to record it very soon, and I'll upload how to use certain things of the car. Yeah. So and then Arthur, I have a question. Martha, yes. Here driving slow on a fast lane attacks a penalty. Exactly, Seth. Nayanti kakati wano in Uganda, the penalty will be there, but the traffic officer will stop you, and instead of giving you the fine of 500k, ajja kugamba ekipapula ky'ataano mpaayo etaano ngendo bampaayo 10. And then of course people will choose the corruption because corruption is cheaper. You get it? So in a way it's not, the corruption just has to stop. You get. Martha, are cars different because my boss from Egypt couldn't drive in Uganda complaining about the location of, yes, certain countries, I think, Martha, this has to do with which country colonized you. We were colonized from Britain and they drive on the left side, their steering wheels are on the right. That's why our steering wheels are on the right and we drive on the left. Now, there are countries that were colonized by Belgium, France, Portugal. Those countries that colonized them drive from the right and their steering wheels are on the left. So that's how it happened. So if your colonizer is left-handed, they drive on the left, their steering wheel are on the left, your steering wheel will be on the left. If your colonizer has a steering wheel on the right like us, yeah. So it has to do with who colonized you, because your colonizer introduced cars in your country. So they introduced the road system, you get. So we were colonized by Britain, that's why we drive the way we drive. So a person that drives in Uganda would go to Britain and have no problem driving there, but they will go to the US and have a problem driving there. They'll go to Europe and have a problem driving there. Yeah, like, you get it. So Martha, that's how it happens. That's why your boss has a problem driving in Uganda, because that's how it happens. Yeah. So your colonizer, hey, bye. Whoever colonized you determined which side of the road you drive on and where your steering wheel is. Yeah. On fast lane, it doesn't matter what the maximum speed limit is. You just have to go faster than the car behind you. Speed cameras will sort you out. Yeah. But yeah, they have started using the speed cameras in you. I don't know if they use the speed cameras or by they guess. I would have to learn how they actually determine who is going faster using the cameras here in Uganda. If that technology is actually here, they may be using their eyes. But probably the police has to then also educate us how they use. Let me just go through these ones before I set off. We are our own problem, Stuart is saying. Steve Barros from Bugolobi, thank you for being live. Yeah, and we are our own problem, because if they pick you for using mobile while operating a car on a highway, you'll cry. So the problem is with us, not with those who pay, not those who make us. Actually, the problem is with the people that make us pay, Stuart. Yes, Egypt is Africa, Martha, but it was not colonized by Britain, you get it? Or they just decided to use that system. It's just a system of driving that your government decides. Stuart, me, I still think the problem is actually the guys that fine us, because don't give me the option of corruption. Don't, just give me my ticket and I go. But you know, because they want corruption, they want to get money, the guy will actually stop you. They'll stop you from going. That's what happens. You get it? So me, I'm still blaming the guys that actually fine us. They should stop giving us the option of giving them money, cash. If someone doesn't have the cash there, of course, the receipt has an allowance of giving me 21 days until I pay. Give me the ticket, let me go. You get it? But the reason why these traffic officers actually park you there, if I have an offense, print the ticket out there and then give me the ticket, let me go. But our traffic officers in Uganda don't do that. I'm not political, guys. I'll make this clear. This is a cry for help, because we have a lot of idiotic drivers because the fines don't stand. The fines don't stand. Let the fine stand. If the fine is 100k, if I do a mistake, make me understand you've done this mistake and this mistake, the fine is 100,000. I'm going to fine you 100,000. Okay? And I will understand. So if you're not going to fine me, let me go with a warning. Tell me warnings. I'm not going to fine you, but next time I'll fine you. Let me go. Don't tell me warning, give me money. Then I give you money and then you warn me. You get it? So you guys, I still believe that the problem is that actually not us. You just imagine in hospitals, you're not given the option of paying a doctor something or paying for medicine. You have to buy the medicine. There is no option. And because you have to buy the medicine, You buy the medicine. There are no options. That's why they say, I actually, the issue is, you either get married or you don't get married. That's how it is. There is no middle way. Which I believe is not fair. Martha, you're the lady. I believe it's not fair that men are given only two options. You either get married or don't get married. And when you get married, you either have kids or I go away. That's how you babes make it. But anyway, let's go back to us driving. Put you back on the road because it's kind of moving right now. So we talked about the signals. You have talked about the lanes. And Martha is saying, yes, Egypt is Africa, but their system is different from what you have in Uganda. Asiko, Bosia. Hey, but Patrick, you move around quite a lot. You move around quite a lot. Yeah, Egypt is in Africa, but the systems are different. When I went to Canada, I drove a car, but I was driving from a different side. It gave me some headache. Naenda vuga. You cope. Yeah, so how do you know you're a good driver and how to be a good driver? We have talked about the signals, we have talked about the lanes, and we have said also that when you're going slow, keep left so that the people can actually overtake you on the right. Of course, when you go to places where they drive on the left, the instruction is quite different. But in Uganda, keep left so that other people can actually overtake you. Okay? You also have to know hand signals. Hand signals. When, for example, you stop here like this and a kid is going to cross, take a mukono to show the people behind you that, okay, stop, someone is actually crossing. Don't just stop and think that the people behind you baina nyama gezi. Okay? That's why the hand signals are developed. And also, if you want someone to overtake you, fulumi your mukono ebweru and show them that, guy, you can actually overtake me. I have a problem. It's very important that we know how to use hand signals. That's how you know you're a good driver also. Because now you know that and the guys that went to driving school, I'm thinking that they told you these things, the hand signals and all. For us who learned in taxis, because me, I learned by giving my friend who was a taxi driver 5K every evening. When he came from driving his taxi, I gave him 5K and I drove around. That's how I learned how to drive. Me, I didn't go to driving school. But the people that go to driving school, I'm thinking you guys go to theory class and you learn all these things. But I know that majority of drivers in Uganda don't go to driving schools, because when you have a brother that has a car, yeah, you just go to your brother and he teaches you. Yeah. And then there is what we call climbing lanes, guys. I hope you know what climbing lanes are. When you go to places where there are hills, I think this is very common on Jinja Road and Masaka Road, because those roads are kind of wide. You will find that as you're going uphill, there is a lane that goes left. Left. So even if it's a 2-lane road, they'll give you a 3rd lane, which is extreme left. Normally, that's what we call the climbing lane. On that lane, you can go as slow as 5 kilometers per hour. It's a climbing lane. So if you're going to be going slow, use the climbing lane. Don't stay in and want people to overtake you from the climbing lane. It's very idiotic for you to expect people to overtake you from the climbing lane. It's you who is slow who is supposed to be in the climbing lane. Then the people that overtake you use the other lane, either if it's 1 or 2 lanes. Okay? That's how it's supposed to be happening. Use the climbing lane so that people can overtake you. It's the same rule. Keep left unless when overtaking. Okay, that's how you know that. Yeah. So of course, the other thing that shows us that you're not an idiot when driving, don't hit other drivers. You don't bumper. You see how I'm driving? You don't bumper hit a border. You don't bumper hit a cyclist. You don't bumper hit anyone. Okay? You don't bumper hit anyone, because that shows that you're not patient at all. Okay, you need to have some patience on the road. Then you need to give distance between you and the car in front of you. Ideally, you should be able to see the tires, or rather, as the camera is seeing, you should be able to see the tires of the car in front of you. I'm thinking you can see the tires of the car in front of me. That's how much distance you need to give yourself between you and the car in front of you. Why are you giving that space between you? Normally I tell people it should be at least 1 meter. That's 5 feet. Okay, see the tires in front of you. Why you're giving yourself that space is because in case your brakes fail, you can engage parking, you can engage the gear for manual drivers, you can use the handbrake. Okay, and in case the person in front of you abruptly stops, you still have space to actually to stop before hitting them. You need to give them space. In actual sense, people don't know how to close these things. If you knock, if someone behind you knocks you, you have a right to actually go to court and argue that case out. You have to wait for the police to come and measure. Chances are high that when the police comes to measure, that person was not giving you space. So they knocked you not because you stopped abruptly, but they knocked you because they were not giving you enough space. They were not leaving enough space between the two of you. You get it? So when you give space between you and the car in front of you, you are basically giving yourself enough space for error. You need to know that we are all humans and we err. So you need to give the person in front of you space for error, allowance for error. They were on phone, for example, which is idiotic, and they stopped abruptly, but because you gave yourself space between you and them, I think you see the cars on this road, they are all giving themselves space. I think the people that violate this are taxi drivers, and that's why they have a lot of bad accidents. But on this road, almost everyone is giving themselves space. I think they know that, but also know that they plan their time better and they don't want to get into idiotic mistakes. So you need to give yourself space between you and the car in front of you. It's very important. That's how you know you're a good driver. Talk about bumper to bumper. Then you should not keep changing lanes. I'm sure you've seen that, especially with taxi drivers. Bwalaba kano kalente katambula ngadda mukali. Bwaba yakakadda mukano katambula ngadda mukano. Aba yakadda mukano kaline katambula nga achuka. It's very idiotic and it causes a lot of accidents. It brings a lot of problems. You should try as much as possible to avoid doing that. You've seen how far that person has indicated. He doesn't really even have to indicate. We all know he's going left, but he indicated to show me that I'm going left. He made sure to indicate. Now I'm behind the Pajero IO. You see how much space you have to give yourself at the car in front of you? If you're behind the car, you need to know that in case of a crash, your car gets more damaged. It's not the car in front of you. The car in front of you might not even get a damage, but your car will get a damage. For example, that Pajero, it from behind, my car is lower than it. Chances are high that my bumper will get spoiled, my grill will get spoiled, my lights will get. For him, it will be just the bumper. In case he will be protected by. You see the tire behind. That tire behind protects him. Americans should give me money because I'm advertising them in advertising. I don't even intend. Yeah. So you need to know that you give yourself space between you, the car in front of you, but also avoid changing lanes all the time. Why you should avoid changing lanes all the time? Because that doesn't get you to your destination faster. It doesn't get you to your destination faster. That's one thing you need to know. If it did, I'll give you an example. Normally when I'm driving from Matuga, cars come and overtake you, let's say in Kawanda. The guy overtakes you, I'm eating carrots, they're good for my eyes. Oh, also for the guys that are having eye problems, carrots are very good. So someone that overtakes you from Kawanda near the police, I know you guys know that place, the guys that have used Bombo Road before. Someone overtakes you, not Lucas, and then you get to where you say the guy is parked in traffic. No Muisa, even overtake him and you go in front of him. Now you imagine, why was he actually overtaking me, going very fast? Someone keeps changing lanes. You find them at the traffic lights. So they could not actually go faster than you, but they were just papa. They were just panicking. Yes, I understand sometimes we are late, but we should try as much as possible to not panic. If you plan your time better, majority of the time, you know, if someone is telling you to have a meeting with you, there are times people call me for meetings, and I try as much as possible to make sure that we change the meeting time, because I don't want to get there late, and I don't want to get problems because I set a time that is too early for me or too late for me. Normally in the evenings, the latest meetings I have with anyone at 3 p.m. Why? Because at 4 p.m. I'm setting off from office. No what? I've made it out for myself. At 4 p.m. I start leaving town, because after that time, majority of the people are going to drink. It's either casual business, because after that time most people no bongo bate buchakora baba bakoye. So most of the things that you do after that time, if you say everything that so the last test I have my meetings is the last meeting I have ends at 4. So if say anyone tells me we should meet at 4, normally I tell them, okay, can we meet tomorrow in the morning? That happens. And in the mornings I make sure that my first meeting is at 9, because I know that even if I'm late by 9, you see now it's 8 and I'm still in jam. So I don't put my meetings at 8, I put them at 9, because I know by 9 I'll already be at office or I'll be at the meeting place. You get it? So it does not matter what you do. First thing, you need to plan. That will help you to stop changing lanes. It will help you to drive slower. You get it? Because our roads are not favorable for cars. Our roads are probably favorable for tractors, because the tractor will go slow no matter what. But our cars can go faster, and when you go faster on a bad road, the bushes get spoiled, the shock absorbers get spoiled, even because even the locks get unhinged. You get it? So let's of course plan our time better. We are stuck in a jam that is not moving. But also I will tell you that you're a responsible driver if you get a driving permit. Go get a driving permit. I think I had to talk about it even before. These days, if you don't have a driving permit, police is allowed to actually lock you up. They get you, put you in the cells, and charge you in court. And when they charge you in court, the judge can actually just decide to take you to prison. That's how serious not having a driving permit is now. You would be lucky if the officer that gets you, just gives you a fine. It's okay for them to actually lock you up, and I'm sure you don't want to be locked up. So if you're driving in Uganda, get a driving permit before you go to the road. It will not only give you the confidence, because the person that has a driving permit is actually confident as they drive, but even the traffic police, every time a traffic police officer stops you in Kampala, the first thing they ask for is your driving permit. You get? And the other thing, all traffic lights, of course you take the proper lane. That's why I made sure to show you that I was in the wrong lane at the beginning. The wrong lane not only slows down people, but it can also bring accidents. When the person in the left lane, for example, wants to overtake and you're going left, you get? And so many Ugandans actually don't maintain proper lanes. Then the other thing that shows that you're a good driver is if you studied the road signs. Road signs are there to talk to us, because it wouldn't make sense to put someone to shout at you, oh why ye abana bagenda kusala, oh why ye what do you hamp maso. That's why traffic road signs were put in place. You need to educate yourself on the road signs. You need to educate yourself on road signs. Educate yourself on road signs. Know what sign means no left turn. A lot of drivers have been nabbed by traffic police for going left right there where there was a no left turn sign, no right turn. I think those are the most violated traffic signs. No U-turn, and someone actually does a U-turn, and they expect that the people that are in right should actually be patient. You actually see an accident where the person that was knocked was doing a U-turn, and they are shouting on top of their voices. But why? Because they are an idiot. They did not get themselves educated on the road signs, or they did not budget their time, so they had to do a U-turn because they are late. Educate yourself on road signs. Educate yourself on road signs so that you know where the zebra crossing is, so that you know which speed limits to take, and there are things you need to know automatically. One, in places where there are a lot of people, in congested places, you should not go beyond 30 kilometers per hour. Why? Because at 30 kilometers per hour you can actually stop. In towns, don't go beyond 50 kilometers per hour. That is something we should all know. If you've been driving on the road for even a year, you should know that. It is us who should avoid anything to do with them, have correct, and you'll have no issues with anyone. Arthur is giving us defensive driving techniques. I have defensive driving, I think, tomorrow. I'm going to have defensive driving. In Uganda, drivers give a space to only the bends. I think also, you get, so you need to know, of course, defensive driving self means that you avoid trouble with anyone else. You help people not get in trouble. That's what it means for defensive driving. But now we are just talking about the things that make you a good driver. Yeah, we'll try to cover defensive driving tomorrow. Yeah. So and then stop competing for space with other drivers. We were born at different days, okay? We were born on different days, and it's not accidental that we were born on different days. It's not accidental that we were born on different days. Yeah, guys, give me a minute. Let me just, I need to make a purchase here. Yeah, I'm back, guys. So you need to stop competing. You need to stop competing for space with stop competing for space with other drivers. We were born at different times of the year. We were born in different years. We were born in different hospitals, on different beds, and the delivery was done by different doctors. All that shows is to show you that we are different. Ochitegera. Ateto papa. If someone stops you from entering, from cutting in front of them, let them go. Let them go. They're just going to be there in front of you. They don't benefit anything by stopping you from entering in front of them. So when someone don't compete, it doesn't benefit you in any way to compete for space with anyone, because all of you are just trying to get to work. You know, when we are doing our films, when we write a film, there are two people in a film. There is a protagonist, there is an antagonist. And protagonist is normally the main character of a movie. Ngabura film ya Schwarzenegger yabera protagonist. And then his enemy is the antagonist. They try to show us, okay, the understanding of a normal human being is that the antagonist is normally the enemy of the protagonist. In actual sense, the protagonist and antagonist are not enemies. What is happening is that the antagonist has a goal to fill, the protagonist has a goal to actually make happen, and for the antagonist to get their goal fulfilled, the antagonist has to be out of the way. It's never about you are my enemy, I'm your enemy. That's just how it happens. And I think this is how we move about in life. You start thinking that someone is your enemy. Me, I don't believe that they're actually bad people. I believe they are people that are fighting to make things happen for themselves. And sometimes you just have to be out of the way. I think we know when someone tells you move maso. You get it? Me, when I have a quarrel with you and you tell me no, I walk away straight. Why? Because it seems like me being in front of you is trouble for you, is hindering your success. So I move out of the way and I let you get success. You get what I'm saying? So normally when someone tells you move maso, when you want to enter a road or when you're driving and someone is trying to cut in you, you don't know what they have been through. You don't know what kind of problems they have. And you don't want to be one of the solutions. Someone can bring abada nonya gwa kuba chikonda kakane. Anonya gwa kuba sasa kakane. And then you stand in the way of the bullet. You get it? I hope I've communicated with that. So stop competing for space with anyone. You are not born with them. Okay? Then I think, let's just say, you need to pause at zebra crossings. You need to pause at zebra crossings. You need to pause at zebra crossings because it's a human thing to do. Majority of Ugandans will have kids. Majority of Ugandans will have kids, whether you like it or not. Why majority of Ugandans are going to have kids is because the women we are going to marry, we are programmed. When you get a boyfriend, you start living together, you get pregnant and have children. Whether you're ready or not, that's how it happens. In fact, the women we are going to marry, or the women you are going to marry, because me, I already have a woman. The women you're going to marry have been programmed like that. The moment you start living with a guy, over the moment the guy is known at your parents' place, the next thing for you to do is to get pregnant. That's how they have been programmed. That's why you find that even the brokest of broke people have kids, because for them, they have not been trained that you have to wait for life to get better for you to have kids. They have not been trained to prepare a good life for their kids before they actually get pregnant. They have been prepared to get pregnant and have kids, to the extent that the arrangement of life is that you grow up, after school you get a job. If that happens like that, you get a wife, or you get a husband. When you get a husband, you have children. That's how it works. There is no middle way. There has never been that when you after graduation, if you get a man, you wait and you save up some money like 5 months and then you get pregnant. Because during our parents' times, they would go to the hospital for free. Kakati okuzara omwana, a child costs 1.5 and above. For me, my kids cost me about 1.6 each. And I went to a general hospital, which was Rubaga. That was a general hospital, which is cheap. You get it? So each of my kids cost me 1.6 for the hospital alone. But then you have to buy baby formula sometimes and all those things. Those are other expenses. If you don't stop at zebra crossings now, someone will also refuse to stop at the zebra crossing for your kids. That was the point I was bringing. I brought it in a very long way, but I brought it home finally. If you don't stop at the zebra crossing, you have kids. You will grow old. The only way for you to cross is at a zebra crossing. So you need to think, would you want a person to stop for your kids? If you want someone to stop for your kids, stop for someone's kids today. If you want someone to cross for your mother or father in the village, stop for someone's father and mother today. That's how it happens. Like I said, we are going to be educating ourselves. That's the only way we can make this place better. Just imagine your kids are at the zebra crossing and someone is not stopping for them. Then there is, you have to respect zebra crossings. Respect zebra crossings. No. Yes. But also respect speed limits. Respect speed limits. We were gamba 70 kilometers per hour. The people that put the speed limit there went to school for that. They went to school to make sure that they guide the people that drive. They went to school for that. So don't think they were idiots into you're stated in a car driving. If they say the speed limit here is 70 kilometers per hour, keep it at 70 kilometers per hour or less. Don't drive 80 kilometers per hour simply because your car can actually go faster than 70. You're not the first person to drive. Respect the speed limits. I hope you guys get me. Respect the speed limit. And my final point is that you need to park between space lines. You know, when you go to parking, and you find some idiot parking parking alinye mu line mwennyini. You need to park between the lines, not on the lines when you're parking. Now kati ekyo nkirekedde okuvuga emmoroka mu kimanyi. Park between the lines, not on the lines. Not on the lines. You get? That's my final point. The things that make you a good driver. Hey, if you missed a point, you need to go back and watch the video from the beginning. Who has a right of way? Okay, the person that has a right of way, you see where we are? I'm in Kamocha, Bobby Wine Road. I'm on the main road. So I have a right of way. Those people that are coming, that are joining the road, don't have a right of way. They have to wait for me. Okay? I have a right of way here. Anyone that is on the main road has a right of way if you're joining. On the roundabout, someone that is already in the roundabout has the right of way. So when you're joining, you actually have to wait for them to give you right of way. Okay? You have to wait for them to stop for you to enter the roundabout. At the roundabout, the person that is already in the roundabout has a right of way. But however, the rules have been turned here. That now he had to wait for me to stop. But in Uganda, because people by no mudurugwe kubo, over they are idiotic, you have to kwenyigawo, botenyigawo oja kusibawo. You get what I'm saying? So because Ugandans are not patient, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Sorry for abusing you if you do that. Because Ugandans are not patient, you'll find that most times you have to force yourself into the line. Okay, but ideally the person on the main road has a right of way. And of course there are people that have a right of way. Chief Justice has a right of way, President has a right of way, and like I said, you guys have to imagine that all judges have a right of way. We lose nothing by giving them right of way, but we have a lot to gain when they go home safe and sound. You get? Because if they start killing judges now, you find that judges will start seeing who is dangerous. Let me rule in their favor. Right now, you see those guys on the road, they have a right of way, not us. Those guys have a right of way. So we have to actually wait. Boba itewo nafe tulyoke tugende. Okitegeera. kati omulabo ayingira okuva main road. Now I have a right of way because nze nayingidde dda, so he has to wait for me to go, then ayingire. So sometimes the right of way should be common sense. The person that has gone before you has a right of way. That's how it should be. Toto mena muntu simply because you're on the main road and they have just entered. Yeah, you'll be wasting your time and money. But also in Uganda there are some rules that are not written that make sense. That for example, cyclists have a right of way. Because you have more money than them, you'll end up paying even when they are in wrong. Border guys have a right of way. Those are unwritten rules. That's why when I say to keep safe on the road, if you watch that video, keep away from borders. Border guys have a right of way. Okay? Government vehicles have a right of way. Army vehicles and police vehicles have a right of way. You get, those are unwritten rules. People that are driving like Range Rovers, expensive cars may have a right of way. Because most of the times people that drive those expensive cars know a general in the army, they know someone, a minister or someone, and to somebody who was an Aboko police, they will leave you there and you will pay them even when they are in wrong. So if you find someone driving a very expensive car in Uganda, just give them a right of way. Because even if they knock you and you go to police, chances are high that police will take their side, or they will pay the police to take their side. Those are unwritten rules. Don't compete with an expensive car. That's why you'll find that a guy that, Maria, today you're late, I'm almost going, but don't worry, you can watch this when it publishes. So in Uganda, don't argue with someone that drives an expensive car. You don't know who they are, because we all know that a common person that has worked for their money in Pora, it's very rare to find them driving a Range Rover Vogue. Abantu sente zabwe mazima ebiseera ebisinga emmotoka ey'ebbeeyi gye bavuga ebeera hari ya kawundo. So most of the times you find someone driving a Range Rover Vogue, they are using government money or they are using stolen money. That's how it has been. And you will argue all you want, but just show me someone that has been driving a Range Rover Sport, Range Rover Vogue, and they were not exposed later. See, Papa, there is this guy who has been calling himself jobless billionaire. He was driving Range Rovers. He had a Luseregende motor. He would have a lineup of cars behind him. And I think a few months ago, over weeks, we saw a South African newspaper publishing him. He was ripping off all the women of their money. You get it? So just know, don't argue with people that are driving very expensive cars, the Range Rover Vogues, the BMW X10 if it exists. Most of the times those guys have done terrible things to get to where they are. So just making sure that your life is terrible is not the worst thing they have done. So don't argue with them. That is an unwritten rule. Nze sikiwakana muntu alina mmotoka ya beeyi nnyo ku kkubo, because abantu abakoze sente zaabwe mazima ebiseera ebisinga emmotoka ze bavuga tuzimanyi. Okitegeera. You don't find someone that has worked for 20 years to collect their money buying a Range Rover Sport. Era ebiseera ebisinga bwe abavuze emmotoka ya beeyi nnyo abali mu Alfa D, mu Kawundo, okitegeera. Oba aguzeyo ka Mercedes Benz bagiyita batya, those MLs. But away from that, I've told you the unwritten rules. Yeah. So, good morning, Denny. Ugandans, okay. Ugandans don't even know what a strong line mean. They just overtake anyway. Yeah, they don't. I like that car shop, but of course they don't have very good customer service here, but they are in the way and they have good bread. Yeah, that's why I tell you, when I'm training people in customer service, I tell them that you can treat your customers terribly, but until someone that treats them better comes along, people will leave good products for bad products because of customer service. Their service is bad. Yeah. And Stuart is saying your babies didn't cost you. Costing you means negative. Yeah, I tell you, negative means negative is negative. If I take money out of my pocket, it means I'm reducing my money. So your babies cost until, by the way, Stuart, until we as Africans start knowing that a cost is a cost. we are going to keep having kids. That I was watching a video recently of a guy that was telling Baganda, Muzala Abana, even when you cannot, that you should have kids, even when you cannot take them to school, even when you cannot afford, even when that if you can't take them to school, take them to the garden to dig. That's such idiotic thinking. You need to afford kids to have them. Me, when I had my kids, I could afford them. You get, but they were a cost still. You get, and they are still costing me, by the way, because they're expenses you have because you have kids. That if you didn't have kids, you'd not have them. You get, until we start knowing that kids are actually an expense. Kids cost you. My kids cost me 1.6 to get them out of their mother's belly. So for me, they cost me money. So you need to know abantu obutalabanti abana is an expense. Yensonga lwaki bamala gazaala. You find someone having 6 kids when they should be having 2. You get, you find someone having 10 kids when they can't even afford 1. I know many of those guys, by the way. I know guys, even educated guys, that will that say nze omwana the kastamwera paka senior 4 mba muwelede. But guys, even a university degree now is not useful. So you tell me that you're going to pay school fees for your kids up to senior 4 and that you have done your job? You get, So that person, when they were having their kids, they did not look at the kids as an expense. And by the time they realized, oh, children are expensive, they even decided that, okay, now I cannot afford it. If I take my kid up to senior 4, then I've educated them enough. But guys, even masters is not enough today. You get, you need to actually have a master's degree to start to have a good bargaining chance at for jobs. Me, I'm even self-employed, but I think I have the qualifications I have could get me like a 3 if I were to look for jobs. You get, because I have qualifications and I don't even need them. You get, so kati obutatunira abana as an expense to what is doing us a disservice in Uganda. Just know omwana expense until actually your child is an expense until they can actually fend for themselves. But even then, when things go rough, they have to come back to you. Me, I've seen it the hard way because I have nowhere to go to. Because I think my dad enjoyed sex too much. That's how he got HIV, and that killed him. My mom too. And I'm saying this not because I'm disrespecting, but I'm saying this because this is one way we can tell each other as young people, and then we start living responsibly. Sex is good, but sex can kill you. You get, sex can kill you. Sex can actually lead to your downfall as a man. Sex has led to the downfall of so many men, so many great men, because they could not control their libido. They end up having sex with the wrong person. You get, and the wrong person can always lead to your downfall. You get disease, you get arrested, you get so many bad things come out of that, especially for men. Abakazi, if you don't get HIV or hepatitis B or those diseases that will probably put you on the bed for a long time, for you sex is actually beneficial most of the times, because a guy can have sex with you and fall in love with you and then start giving you all these sorts of nice things. But for us as men, with sex, you can have sex with the wrong person and have twins, and that can spoil your life for the rest of spoil your life until you die. Why? If they are too demanding, then you're going to end up spending money on them all the time. So for us men, we actually have to be very careful who we have sex with. Be very careful. Yeah, me, I think if people had control for sex, we'll have very few orphans. We'll have very few kids, street kids. If people had the control of the amount of sex they had, if they actually knew that, okay, now I'm going to have this number of kids because of this and this and this, we would have fewer orphans, would have fewer street kids, okay? Would have less men suffering. A lot of men would actually be living longer. Many men get pressure, diabetes, they get accidents because of the number of kids they have. Musajja watu ayinokola ennyo avuga picha ekiro ne bamukuba akatayimba because sente ze yafunye emisana tezaamumaze. Okitegeera, That's why I tell my cousins, because I have cousins for brothers and sisters. I tell them, you find that your cousin, the mother has not even educated him up to university. But they're asking for that, for a grandchild. A grandchild for what? You get it? Now I know there are people on this broadcast that disagree with me totally, and that's totally true. That's okay. You can disagree all you want, but the fact is, as a generation that has been educated, that has been exposed, tetuina kumaragazala. Simply because, okay, I love kids, so I'll have 4. So because you think having 4 kids is like having 4 cars. Because if I have 4 cars, I could sell 3 and keep 1 in case I cannot maintain all the 4. But you cannot sell kids. You cannot turn off kids the way you can turn off a computer. When kids come on the earth, they start eating. You have to take them to the best schools. When you give them medicine, you have to give them the best medical care. You get it? When you buy them clothes, you want to buy them the best. You want them to be more knowledgeable than you. You can't take them to the same school. Me, I went to UPE in primary school, but I went to UPE because my grandmother was giving me school fees. I went for bursary schools in my O level. Okay, that's all I knew. So when I started giving myself an education, I made sure I got a choice. So I educated myself for S5 and S6 and then university. That's why I said I want to study film and drama. That's what I wanted. I was passionate about it. So I needed to have a choice. That's what money gives you. Money gives you a choice. If you have kids and you don't look at them as an expense, very soon you'll not have a choice of what to do, which schools to take them and all that, which hospital to take them. I hope I make sense. Me, because I had the money to take myself to university, I gave myself a choice of what to study, and I don't regret it. You get it? Because I know what I do. There are people that had no choice because you went on government, and government said go study education, so you had to study education because, well, you don't have money to take yourself to any other course. Because the bursaries that are available are taking you to Uganda Royal, yet you wanted Chambogo. You get, so you have to go to Uganda Royal because you don't have the money to go to Chambogo. You get, and so many young people, and I'm sure some of you guys watching me right now, you went through that kind of life because your parents did not have the money to make a choice. So you went to an institute where there was bursary, where they could pay the money they could afford. So until we make a better choice, guys, we as young people, tulina okukola choice entuufu. Tomalagazala because you love kids. Then there is this thing that I've been hearing people saying, I want a boy and a girl. If I don't have a boy and a girl, I'll keep have kids. So you find someone that they are having boys only. So the guy has kids. They even get to baby number 7 because all the babies are boys and they want a girl. For what? All kids are the same, boys or girls. If you have girls, if you get to the desired number, if you wanted 4 kids and you get to 4 kids and they're all girls, why are you having more girls simply because you are looking for a boy? It didn't be a common sense, guys. But I think sometimes we need someone outside ourselves to tell us that, okay, what you're doing is not fun. So let's not just have kids for the sake of having kids. My mother had 7 kids, so I would also have 7 kids. Simanya, I'm going to keep having kids until I get twins. Such idiotic thinking. I call it idiotic thinking because that's one reason why we have what we call black tax. You people have heard of black tax? Black tax is that kakati you're looking after your mother, so you cannot make a life for yourself, you cannot have any savings. So your kids will also look after you, and then because of that, their kids will also look after them. That's what we call black tax. So every new generation keeps looking after the generation that came before them and their burdens. So some of you are looking after your brothers and sisters because your parents did not plan for them. Bamalagazala. Ngiogera as toughly as I said them because I believe in them. Me, I've seen them happen. The firstborn in every family looks at when will that stop? Kids are an expense. An expense is negative. every kid you have impacts you negatively. Echobeera ngo okimanyi. Era Martha gobadde mutufu gamba nti you're going to first make money. And especially for women these days. So abasajja nti bazaala nnyo. You'll find that Martha, you have a kid with a guy amukusuulire because he was not prepared to look after kids. Ajaba kusuulira. I'm away from that. If you guys want us to have a conversation about family planning and all that, I'm a pro. I'll educate you. We need to change things as a generation. Okitegeera, tulekeraawo okuzaala simply because our parents had. Tulekeraawo okuzaala simply because it's in our tradition as Africans. Actually, people say, fe tuli bafirika, abazungu babonaabona nnyo. Yes, balina sente naye babonaabona nnyo because tebazaala. Because the biggest population in Europe is old. So what? They have money. They have free education. They have free medical care. Wouldn't you want to have free medical care? Everyone would want. You get it? Let me look at you guys as I conclude, because it's time for me to conclude. Guys, I don't want any of my followers to end up not driving the car they want simply because they had the kids they wanted. We don't have kids we want. We have kids we can afford. Mbagambi, a kid costs you 1.6 and above if you go to a decent hospital. At times the 1.6 in Uganda, which is a very cheap hospital. If you don't plan for your kids, and I'm sure nobody wants to have their kids in Chirudu. You get it? The people that have kids in Chirudu, Kakati, you guys, you can even afford to have a Wi-Fi spot where you can watch a broadcast from. It means you need to get enlightened. Okay? Toza alabana simply because it's trendy to have kids. Toza alabana simply because there is a guy that told me, Tato hafia toza alabatono kati fetu ino kuzara. Nah. Mumu ino kuzara because you guys have a target, or because anyway. Away from that, it's not my place to guide you. It's not my place to tell you how many kids to have. It's not my place to tell you how to plan for your lives, guys. The channel is about cars, and you guys need to know that for you to drive the cars you love, you have to have fewer kids. Nze mvuge mmoroka buli kiseera, emmoroka tenvaako. Why? Because I can afford it. Okitegeera, I know friends of mine that will not afford a car. Avuga ka bajaji, sina bajaji mate, but the reason he's doing that is because he has a lot of kids. Abaana atera okuwezaawo sente ez'okugula emmoroka ng'omwana alwala, oba si ekyo nga bamukubira, the first wife is calling him, simanya kati twetaaga sente zino. Okitegeera, and that happens to so many guys. Yeah, but I'm not a family planning person here. I'm here for the love of cars. But I'm telling you, one way you're going to be able to drive the cars you want is by having the number of kids you can afford. Okay, I will first make money. Then I will tell my loom not to conceive before buying an Ipsam. Ipsam ogenda jigula niguno omwaka Martha. No, if a kid watches this and he answers it at school, that has a right of Weneda. Just mention the ones that are written in laws. No, I have to mention the unwritten laws because this is not for kids. This is for people like you and me that drive on the roads. To know kumanya the written and unwritten laws. You get it? So hi Ryans from Bangladesh. Martha K is driving a Range Rover because women are safer more than men. What do you mean, Martha, safer? What do you mean safer? And by the way, Stuart, you guys that believe that you can have all the kids you want, me I've seen guys ku graduation ya mwana we nga yali awaayo ne sente naye nga maama w'omwana yamugamba kitaawo abadde tatuwa buyambi, kitaawo musirusiru biki simply because the guy skipped a few payments, which is something that sometimes as a person, as a human being that makes money, you will not be able to avoid. Until sometimes you won't be having money and you cannot assist your family the way you want to. But normally when that happens, especially if you separate with the mother of your kids, she'll make sure that your kids know nti gwe buzibu in whatever is happening between all of you. But anyway, Stuart, that's not for me to tell you. Sometimes we have kids because it's a culture. Our parents told us oyina kuzaala abaana munaana okubeera omusajja ajjudde, oyina kuzaala bwotyo okubeera omusajja ajjudde. Yeah, So you guys, have to go. I have to go to work. I had a rough day yesterday. Everyone kept doing things the wrong way at work, and I don't know why. You tell someone to do something, and yeah. So I'm reminding you guys, I have a marketing workshop for the guys that are in Uganda, in Kampala, and in a small business. If you know someone that has a small business, tell them about the workshop. It's of course it's targeted at small business owners, self-employed individuals, and young marketers, to refresh their marketing knowledge, to refresh them, to know what best to do, especially as the Christmas period is coming, for you to increase the sales. Remember, competition is more. Abantu banji bafirwe emirimu ne batandika business. So it means in every field there are more people doing the things that you do. So for you to compete better, you need to know the right things to do. Marketing strategy, customer service, digital marketing. You need to know how to do the things the right way. That's what the marketing workshop is about. And I have some of the marketing lessons that I will be giving on this very channel. You can go and check it out. If you want to share information, I have a flyer on this very channel. You go to the channel, go to communities tabs, and then you'll scroll down. You'll have a flyer. You'll get up with the workshop. You can share it with your friends. Tell them to come. It's very affordable, by the way. But basome, but day after Christmas, because the skills I'm going to be giving these people are not limited to this year, but they're also going all the way up to next year. You get, yeah. So I also do pre-purchase inspection. If you're going to buy a car, I help you. If you're going to buy a car, I help you to inspect the car for you and to tell you whether to buy it or not. Some of the things that will stop you to buy a car are actually more than is the engine healthy. They are more than how does the car look, and I know how to identify those things. I come with a mechanic for us to check that car. Yeah. And and that way we help you mitigate the cost. You don't incur any losses later on in life, yeah, because you make the right choice as you buy a car. Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for being here. I also sell tracking devices, by the way. A tracking device will cost you 350,000, including installation. Yeah, only 350,000. Go you take them, you start tracking your car using your mobile phone. So Martha, thank you very much for being fast. Seth, thank you for being here. Vicent from Chegegwa. Henry Chisule, thank you for being here. Emma, thank you for being here. Mwesigwa Isaac, thank you. Stuart, thank you for being here. Steve Barros, thank you for being here. Patrick from Busia, Asiku, thank you for being here. And Buyinza Dennis, thank you for being here. Maria, thank you for being here as well. Ryan's Gaming from Bangladesh, thank you for being here. And of course, Stuart, tumanyo kwa ukanamu nangaba chino chechitufu munange Stuart. Things in Uganda, some of the things are upside down, and if you're going to survive, you need to know which is what thing is upside down, so that you actually handle it the right way. Because wotamanya that something is upside down, you may still handle it the straight way. No, you know. And I actually think kids also need to know what the unwritten rules, like for example, border borders have a right of way, so that border borders can knock your kids down. We have seen that. So the kids need to know that, okay, I'll have to be careful with border borders if I'm crossing the road, because border borders are more dangerous than cars. Yes, when a car knocks you down, it does more damage, but a border will knock you down more often than a car. So kids need to know that it's not safe to imagine that border borders are also safe. So they will be very careful with border borders. I think the kids need to know the unwritten rules even more than us. You're welcome, Fred, and thank you for coming. Yeah, I'll keep saying these things, and tomorrow we have, I think we're going to be doing, is it defensive driving? Yeah, defensive driving. I know some of the things I've said today will also come there, but then it will be an in-depth analysis, an in-depth discussion. So if you have some defensive, like Seth, I think, I know, and Stuart, you guys, I'm thinking, and JK, you guys have gone to defensive driving school. Me, the defensive driving school I've gotten was on the road. I taught myself, and of course I research. Yeah. So you the guys that have gone to defensive driving school, you can also come and comment. You know, people read these comments, yeah, and then they learn a thing or two, so that by the time they come to the road, they know what to do. So you guys, I'm going to be covering some of the things that they should be covering in driving schools. Because I know some driving schools don't even cover those things. I'll do an video. Jakubandos are like 40 minutes, where I'll cover some of the things that driving school should be covering with the guys that go there, so that even the guys that don't go to driving school can actually come to this channel and watch these things, and they know what to do. So guys, thank you very much for taking the time to watch my live broadcast. It really means a lot to come and broadcast and people watch. Until tomorrow, guys, have a very nice day. May God bless us all. And don't forget to tell people about the marketing workshop that I'm going to be running. Ciao.